you are from which country?
Brazil.
You're from Brazil?
Yes.
Yeah, I am fan of football, sir.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, sir. What's your name?
Andre.
Good name, sir.
Sir, post to de.
Yes, sir.
What, you have it? You have something similar to this? No, I just want to buy to record you repairing. How much is it, this?
15.
No, that's similar to this one. How much is it?
40.
44? 40? 40.
Before I share my own impression of Mumbai, let's take a quick dive into its fascinating history. Mumbai, formerly known as Bombay, was originally a group of 7 islands inhabited by fishing communities. Over centuries, it passed through the hands of various rulers, including the Portuguese and later the British, who transformed it into a major port city. Its strategic location on the Arabian Sea made it a gateway for trade, migration, and cultural exchange, helping it grow into one of India's most important cities. For Indian people, Mumbai represents ambition, opportunity, and resilience. It is the country's financial capital, the heart of Bollywood, and a melting pot where people from all over India come in search of a better future. It's a city that never truly sleeps, always buzzing with energy. When I visited, my impression was that Mumbai was noisy, busy, and constantly moving but alive in every sense of the word. The streets were filled with the sounds of traffic, vendors calling out, and conversations in different languages. People here seemed incredibly hardworking, pushing forward no matter the challenges. Everywhere I went, people were curious and welcoming. They kept asking where I was from, fascinated by meeting a foreign visitor. In the middle of all the chaos, there's a rhythm, a pulse that makes Mumbai unforgettable. One of the places that truly shows the heart of Mumbai is its street markets. Walking through them is like stepping into a world of colors, smells, and sounds, all happening at once. Stalls are packed close together, selling everything from fresh fruits and vegetables to spices piled high in vibrant shades of red, yellow, and orange. As I was walking through the busy streets of Mumbai, with rickshaws honking, vendors calling out, and people weaving through the traffic, something caught my eye. A cow standing calmly right in the middle of it all. Cars and motorbikes swerved around it like it was just another part of the road. But what surprised me even more was how people stopped to touch it. Some placed their hands gently on its head, others touched its side and then brought their fingers to their forehead, almost like they were receiving a blessing. Later, I learned why this scene felt so special. In India, cows are considered sacred in Hinduism. They symbolize life, motherhood, and generosity, because they give milk and other resources without asking for anything in return. Touching a cow is believed to bring good fortune and spiritual merit. In many parts of India, including Mumbai, you'll see cows wandering freely in the streets, and people treat them with deep respect. It was a moment that really stayed with me. Right there, in the middle of the chaos of the city. This calm, gentle animal stood like a symbol of faith and tradition, connecting modern Mumbai to its ancient roots. Now I want to show you Mumbai from above. From here, you can see the area around Banganga Tank, one of the city's oldest and most sacred spots. This place has been a pilgrimage site for centuries, surrounded by temples, shrines, and narrow lanes full of history. But what really strikes you from up here is the contrast. Right next to Banganga's traditional buildings and quiet water tank, you see towering modern skyscrapers casting their shadows over small, densely packed houses. These humble neighborhoods are often called slums in English, but in India they're known as Zopadpadi. They are home to hardworking families, many of whom have been living here for generations, building their lives in the middle of Mumbai's fast-changing skyline. The day I was there, the heat was intense, the kind that makes the air shimmer above the rooftops. From above, you notice how this part of the city is a mix of old and new, centuries-old stone temples and simple homes made of brick and corrugated metal, sitting side by side with luxury apartments and glass towers. It's a clear picture of Mumbai's unique character, history, tradition, and modern ambition all sharing the same small piece of land. I found out that living here is not cheap at all. Even a small apartment of around 600 to 800 square feet can cost between $500,000 and $660,000 US dollars. And that's for a modest place. If you want something bigger or more luxurious, the price climbs fast. Most of the people living in the towers are wealthy families, while the smaller, older homes are often occupied by families who have been here for generations. It's a mix of tradition and modern ambition, all in the same neighborhood. The day I visited, it was incredibly hot, the kind of heat that makes the air shimmer above the rooftops. From up here, you can also see the Arabian Sea stretching out beyond the city. The coastline curves around, with Chowpatty Beach and the edge of Marine Drive in view. The sea breeze offers a bit of relief from the heat and reminds me that Mumbai was once a group of islands. Looking at it from above, I felt like I was seeing two worlds side by side. History and modernity, wealth and struggle, all connected by the rhythm of the ocean. Mumbai at night has its own magic, and one of the best ways to see it is from above, especially near the area of Marine Drive. From this height, the city transforms into a glittering sea of lights. The curve of Marine Drive itself, also called the Queen's Necklace, shines like a string of golden jewels laid gently along the edge of the Arabian Sea. Streetlights trace the promenade, their reflection dancing on the dark water, while the gentle sound of waves seems to soften the chaos of the city below. From up here, the area feels a bit different from the busy, noisy streets I explored during the day. This part of South Mumbai, with its wide roads, clean sidewalks, and elegant Art Deco buildings, gives off a slightly luxurious vibe. You can see the outlines of grand old hotels, well-maintained apartment buildings, and a few sleek modern towers. It feels like a place where Mumbai shows its polished side. But something surprised me. I didn't see many tourists here at night. While Marine Drive is one of the city's most famous landmarks, most of the people walking along the promenade or sitting on the sea wall seem to be locals. Couples sharing quiet moments, groups of friends laughing and eating snacks from roadside stalls, runners taking advantage of the cooler night air. It felt more like a neighborhood hangout than a tourist attraction, and that made it feel authentic. Even so, the energy was unmistakable.
Namaste, India, Mumbai.
Once I arrived at the airport, I ordered an Uber, and soon my driver picked me up. We headed towards the south of the city, passing along long, wide roads that seemed to stretch endlessly. At one point, we joined a newly built road near the coast, smooth and modern, with glimpses of the sea between the buildings. On the way, I noticed rows of sleek modern high-rises, their glass facades reflecting the sunlight. My driver pointed out one of them, home to one of the most expensive apartments in the world. As we continued, we crossed a bridge, and just beyond it was a luxury district where some of Bollywood's most famous actors live. The area looked exclusive, with elegant architecture, clean streets, and a sense of quiet wealth, standing in sharp contrast to the busier parts of the city. As we passed the luxury district where many Bollywood actors live, I couldn't help but think about how deeply Bollywood is woven into the identity of Mumbai. Bollywood, the Hindi-language film industry based in Mumbai, began in the early 20th century, with the first full-length Indian feature film, Raja Harishchandra, released in 1913. Over the decades, the city became the heart of Indian cinema, producing films that blended music, drama, romance, and dance in a style that captivated audiences across India and beyond. Mumbai's role as India's financial and cultural capital made it the perfect home for this industry, attracting actors, directors, and musicians from all over the country. Today, Bollywood is one of the largest film industries in the world, and its stars are cultural icons whose homes, like the ones I passed near the bridge, have become landmarks for fans. I am now in the south of Mumbai, in the historic fort area. This district is one of the city's best spots for tourists, filled with colonial-era architecture, art galleries, markets, and cafes that give it a unique old-world charm. The fort area takes its name from the fortified walls built by the British East India Company in the 17th century to protect their settlement. Over time, the walls were demolished, but the name remained, and many of the grand buildings from the British Raj era still stand. Walking here feels like stepping back in time, with landmarks such as the Bombay High Court, the Asiatic Society Library, and the iconic Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus nearby. It's a place where history, culture, and daily city life come together, making it a must-visit for anyone exploring Mumbai. I went to the central train station in Mumbai, the impressive Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, and then walked through the streets nearby. What I saw was a bit of beautiful chaos. A constant flow of scooters, cars, buses, and people moving in every direction, all mixed with the sound of horns and street vendors calling out. The energy was intense and noisy, yet there was a rhythm to it. Despite the busy scene, I found that Indians are incredibly warm and always ready to help tourists, whether it's giving directions or offering advice. The city felt very safe. In fact, one of the safest I've experienced. And you can see that people here work hard, with small businesses, street stalls, and offices all buzzing with activity from morning until night. The city greets you with a rush of energy the moment you arrive, a mix of sounds, sights, and yes, smells, all blending together into a first impression you won't forget. It's fair to say that parts of the city are a little dirty and carry a strong scent. The streets are busy and worn, with dust in the air, food scraps near market stalls, and the occasional pile of rubbish waiting for collection. It's not unpleasant in a dangerous way, but it does take a bit of getting used to. The smell is as much a part of the city's character as its skyline, a blend of sizzling street food, tangy spices, exhaust fumes, and everyday life. Sometimes it's rich and mouth-watering, other times a little overpowering. Locals barely notice it, but as a newcomer, you might find it surprising at first. Give it a day or two, and it becomes background music for your senses, not always sweet but always real. Visually, the same goes for cleanliness. Some neighborhoods are neat and polished, while others are full of cracked pavements, weathered walls, and the marks of daily life. Litter might gather in corners, and rain can turn the streets into muddy pathways. It's not the postcard version of a city, but it's the truth of a place that is alive, bustling, and unapologetically itself. Once you accept this, you begin to see the charm behind the grit. The smiles of the people, the bright colors of stalls, the aroma of freshly cooked food, they shine all the brighter against this backdrop. The city may be a little dirty and smelly, but it's also vivid, human, and unforgettable. Mumbai, like much of India, carries a history so deep that it feels almost endless. India's civilization stretches back more than 4,000 years, with ancient kingdoms, empires, and dynasties shaping its culture. Long before the skyscrapers of Mumbai rose, this land was organized under a social structure often referred to as the caste system, a centuries-old way of dividing society into groups based on occupation and heritage. Though modern India has moved away from these divisions in law, echoes of it still influence daily life in subtle ways. Religion is woven into the heart of Mumbai. Here you'll find temples, mosques, churches, and gurdwaras standing side by side, each alive with color and rituals. Hinduism is the largest faith, but Islam, Christianity, Jainism, Buddhism, and Sikhism also have strong communities. Walking through the streets, you might hear the call to prayer mixing with the ringing of temple bells, a soundscape that sums up India's diversity. Mumbai itself is relatively young compared to India's ancient history, about 350 years in its current form. It began as a group of islands, later developed by the Portuguese in the 16th century, and then taken by the British in 1661 as part of a royal dowry. Under British colonial rule, India was one of the richest regions in the world, producing textiles, spices, and jewels that fascinated Europe. Yet colonial exploitation drained much of that wealth, and by independence in 1947, India faced deep poverty. Today, India is still recovering from that past, but it is also growing fast. Mumbai reflects this perfectly, a city of contrasts where luxury apartments stand beside crowded markets, and fortunes can change within a single street. It's a place where history and ambition meet, and where the story of India's rise continues to unfold. The British colonial period left deep marks on India, and while the younger generation may not carry the same emotions, many from the older generation still feel a quiet anger about what was lost. When the British took control, they didn't just govern. They reshaped India's economy, drained its wealth, and altered its social structure in ways that are still felt today. During their rule, countless treasures, artifacts, and cultural pieces were taken from India and shipped to Britain. Many of them are still displayed in places like the British Museum, far from the land they came from. It wasn't just about art and jewels. Industries were dismantled or restructured to serve colonial interests. India's thriving textile sector, for example, was deliberately weakened so that British-made goods could dominate the market. Resources flowed out of the country, while poverty and famine became more common for the people left behind. This history isn't always spoken about openly, but for those who lived through the final years of British rule or heard first-hand stories from their parents, the memory is still raw. They remember a time when India was not only colonized, but also denied the chance to shape its own destiny. Today, things look different. India is an independent nation, growing fast and building its own place in the world economy. Interestingly, the connection between India and Britain has taken on a new form. Now, you see many Indians living in London and across the UK, working in all kinds of industries, from business to technology. It's a reminder that history can be complicated. The same empire that once took so much is now home to a large Indian diaspora, contributing to British society while keeping a link to their roots. Indian culture is one of the world's oldest, shaped by thousands of years of history, diverse religions, languages, and traditions. It blends ancient philosophies, vibrant festivals, music, dance, cuisine, and family values into a way of life that varies from region to region but shares a deep respect for heritage and community. The name India comes from the river Indus. In ancient times, the Persians called the land beyond the Indus Hindustan, derived from Sindhu, the Sanskrit name for the river. Later, the Greeks used the term India, which eventually became India in English. One of the most fascinating sights in Mumbai is Dhobi Ghat, the city's open-air laundry that has been running for well over a century. Located near Mahalakshmi, it's not just a place to wash clothes, it's an entire working community, a living piece of Mumbai's history. Here, hundreds of dhobis, washermen and washerwomen, stand in long rows of concrete wash pens, each with its own flogging stone. Clothes from hotels, hospitals, offices, and private homes across the city are brought here daily. In the early morning, the ghat comes alive with the sound of water splashing, fabrics being beaten clean, and the hum of people working side by side. The air is filled with a mix of soap, detergent, and fresh laundry. A surprisingly pleasant scent in the middle of such a busy city. The reason Dhobi Ghat exists goes back to a time before washing machines were common in India. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, most people didn't have the space, equipment, or running water to wash large amounts of laundry at home. Hotels, British colonial offices, and wealthy households needed their clothes and linens cleaned regularly. So the dhobis created a central place where washing could be done efficiently, using natural sunlight for drying and open air for ventilation. Even today, despite modern machines, Dhobi Ghat remains busy because it's cost-effective and has a reputation for getting clothes spotless. Some of the workers are from families who have been in the trade for generations, passing down techniques and work ethics. For visitors, it's more than just a laundry. It's a glimpse into the hard-working side of Mumbai, where tradition and necessity blend into something uniquely vibrant and enduring. In the south of Mumbai, the coastline offers a mix of beauty and raw urban life. Gurgaon Chowpatty is perhaps the most famous beach in this part of the city. A stretch of golden sand where families gather in the evenings, children play cricket, and street vendors sell bhel puri, pav bhaji, and ice cream. The Arabian Sea provides a constant backdrop, its salty breeze carrying the sounds of laughter and the distant honk of traffic. A little further along, small fishing communities still work from the shore, their colorful boats a reminder of the city's maritime roots. Not far from these beaches, the streets transform into busy markets that seem to run on their own unspoken rules. Narrow lanes overflow with stalls selling spices, fabrics, jewelry, and snacks, while shopkeepers call out to customers over the noise of scooters weaving through the crowd. The atmosphere can feel chaotic. Colors, smells, and voices all competing for attention. But it's a kind of organized confusion that's part of Mumbai's charm. However, with such dense activity and food being handled in open spaces, there's an unintended consequence: rats. They thrive in environments where food waste is plentiful and trash disposal is inconsistent. In some markets, leftover scraps, discarded packaging, and clogged drains create the perfect conditions for them. It's not unique to Mumbai. Cities around the world face the same problem. But here, the sheer number of people and the scale of the street food culture make it more visible. Still, despite this, the beaches and markets remain two of the city's most vibrant experiences. They capture the essence of Mumbai: energetic, imperfect, and endlessly alive. Mumbai, a city of contrasts. From the murky Arabian Sea to the bustling streets, Mumbai, the financial heart of India, is a place of great contrasts. It is a city where Bollywood glamour stands side by side with centuries-old markets, where gleaming skyscrapers overlook sprawling slums, and where the Arabian Sea laps the shores with a salty rhythm that has witnessed centuries of trade, migration, and change. Yet for all its vibrancy, Mumbai also bears the marks of its own size and speed. One of the most noticeable and often discussed aspects of the city is the state of its ocean and coastline. The ocean in Mumbai, beauty touched by pollution. When people imagine a city by the sea, they often picture sparkling blue waters, clean sandy beaches, and gentle waves under a golden sunset. Mumbai's coast, however, tells a more complex story. The Arabian Sea that borders the city is full of life and history, but also full of waste, an inevitable result of being next to one of the most densely populated cities in the world.
You are from which country?
Brazil.
You're from Brazil?
Yes.
Yeah, I am fan of football, sir.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, sir. What's your name?
Andre.
Good name, sir.
During the day, the streets are dominated by workers commuting to offices, traders carrying goods to markets, and students in crisp uniforms heading to school. The suburban train stations like Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus or Dadar spill thousands of passengers into the streets every few minutes. Pavements overflow, and at busy junctions, crossing the road can feel like a strategic game. The traffic is not just cars and buses. There are countless scooters and motorbikes, which can slip into the smallest spaces between vehicles. Auto rickshaws buzz through the suburbs, their bright yellow and black colors standing out against the gray concrete. Street sweepers push carts full of collected litter, often working just inches from moving traffic. Nighttime transformation. When night falls, Mumbai does not sleep. It simply changes rhythm. Certain areas like Marine Drive glow under streetlights, with couples strolling along the promenade. Other areas become more intense, as night markets open and late-night street food stalls start cooking. The smell of pav bhaji, kebabs, and Chinese Indian noodles mixes with the humid night air. It is at night, however, that another part of Mumbai becomes more visible: the rats. The rats of Mumbai. Unwanted nighttime. Residents. Rats in Mumbai are not a hidden secret. They are part of the city's urban ecosystem, though not in a way anyone particularly enjoys. During the day, they are mostly hidden, staying in drains, holes, or piles of rubbish. But at night, especially in quieter lanes or near food markets, they come out in large numbers. The reason is simple. Mumbai produces a massive amount of food waste every day. Street vendors, restaurants, and households all contribute scraps, which often end up in open bins or on the ground. In a warm climate with constant food sources, rats thrive. Some are surprisingly large, darting between piles of trash or slipping into narrow cracks in the pavement. In certain areas, particularly older neighborhoods with narrow lanes and poor waste management, it is common to see several rats scurrying at once after dark. Locals are used to it. They know how to step carefully or avoid certain corners. For a first-time visitor, however, it can be startling to realize just how many there are. Municipal authorities regularly attempt rat control measures, including poisoning campaigns and setting traps. But the city's size and density make total eradication impossible. As long as there is easy access to food and shelter, the rat population quickly recovers. In a way, the rats are a side effect of Mumbai's energy and abundance. The same food culture that delights tourists also sustains these nocturnal creatures. Who visits Mumbai? Tourist nationalities. Despite its challenges, or perhaps partly because of them, Mumbai draws visitors from around the world. It is not a typical beach destination like Goa, but rather a city that offers cultural depth, historical landmarks, and an unforgettable urban atmosphere. The mix of tourists reflects Mumbai's global connections. Domestic tourism. Before talking about international visitors, it's important to note that the majority of Mumbai's tourists are actually from within India. People come from all over the country, from Rajasthan's deserts, Kerala's backwaters, and the hill stations of Himachal Pradesh, to experience the glamour of Bollywood, shop in famous markets, or attend business events. For many Indians, Mumbai represents opportunity, excitement, and modernity. International visitors. From an international perspective, Mumbai's visitors tend to fall into several broad groups. Business travelers. Many foreign visitors come for work. Mumbai is India's financial capital, home to the Reserve Bank of India, major multinational offices, and the Bombay Stock Exchange. Business travelers often come from the US, UK, Singapore, Japan, and Germany, staying in South Mumbai or the Bandra Kurla complex. Heritage and cultural tourists. This group includes travelers who come to explore historical sites like the Gateway of India, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus, Elephanta Caves, and the colonial-era architecture and fort. Many of these visitors come from Europe, especially France, Italy, and Spain, as well as Australia and Canada. Bollywood fans. Mumbai is the beating heart of India's film industry, and it attracts film lovers from countries with strong Indian communities, such as the UK, South Africa, UAE, and Mauritius. Some tours take visitors directly to film studios, sets, and celebrity homes. Backpackers and budget travelers.